Hello and welcome to Planet Reforest. Planet Reforest is an initiative to grow back our trees in as dense a fashion as possible. We try and do this preferably by growing back native trees and using methods that are proven, like the Miyawaki method of tree plantation. Now, to grow back trees, the one important ingredient that you need is, of course, trees. And you can do this by either going to your local nursery and picking up plants and saplings and growing them, or with a little bit of effort and a little bit of knowledge, you can actually learn how to grow these through seedlings by yourself. That's what this How to Grow series is all about. We are here to tell you how, through seeds, fairly easily, you can grow your own saplings and your own trees. The How to Grow series will essentially teach you 3 steps. The first one is to identify the plants and the trees for propagation. The second step is to help you identify the seeds and also teach you how to harvest them. And the third step is to sow these seeds, germinate them, and turn them into viable saplings which you can then nurture and grow into trees. So if you do these 3 steps, you're well on your way to creating trees and hopefully a really dense, lush forest. Alright, before we get started, it's important that because we are doing something that's environmentally conscious, which is growing trees, we try and do this in a way that tries to minimize the impact on the ecology. Which means that even in the methods that you use to try and grow trees, you should try and be as environmentally conscious as possible. So for example, for growing saplings, you may want to recycle plastic trays and use them, like the ones you will be seeing over here. Try and avoid buying new plastic or plastic pots like these ones from the market. Whatever is available, try and use that. Preferably, you can also use clay pots or clay trays like the ones you see over here. Now, these are available with a lot of local artisans, and it's also a great way to encourage them and also brings an income for them. So try and buy from them and try to avoid buying fresh plastic. You can even recycle plastic like these polypacks or chips bags. This is, for example, polypacks in which you get milk. It's quite simple. All you need to do is provide a few holes for drainage, and you can pretty much grow anything in them. So for example, this is a sapling of a neem tree. This one here is a sapling of a papri tree, and this over here is a peepal tree. So you can pretty much grow anything you want in these, and it serves the same purpose as what a lot of people use, buy and use, which is the plastic pots like these ones. Now, while using these plastic trays, it's a good idea to make a few holes at the bottom which allow for drainage of water. It's fairly simple to do it. You can take a regular nail and heat this up over a flame, and you can use a pair of kitchen tongs to hold it. And once it's hot enough, you can just pierce the plastic with this, and you will be able to get very easy and ready to use trays for growing your seedlings. So do try and do that. That'll ensure that you're doing this in an eco-sensitive and eco-friendly fashion. Now this is what the Kachnar tree typically looks like. Now this is not a very old tree, probably just a couple of years old, so they grow to a larger size and stature. But what you can see is, what's typical of these trees is that their leaves are in this typical camel toe shape. So you'll see a double leaf shape within each leaf. And this is typical of a Kachnar tree. This tree also has a common name that goes by the name of orchid tree or even mountain ebony. Orchid tree because its flowers, when it's in full blooms, look like orchids, and they're usually purple, white or pink-white in color. Now, To collect the seeds, what you can see is that the tree grows these pods, and you can see that over here. Typically when these pods start growing, they are green in color, so they're young pods, and at that time the seed is still developing in them. The seed is fully developed by the time these pods become brownish black and completely dried up, as you can see over here, and these house the seeds within them. Now as these pods start drying up, they crack open and they form this helix shape or a corkscrew shape, as you can see with some of the dried pods up here. And once they start cracking open, they naturally pop out the seeds and drop them to the ground. So you can either pluck out the pod from the tree and you can open it up and crack it open and take the seeds out. Or if you want to avoid doing that, nature does all the hard work for you, and towards mid to late spring you will see that the seeds actually start popping and dropping to the ground themselves. You can see that over here. So these are the Kachnar seeds which are lying on the ground. So all you really have to do is just pick them off the ground and use these seeds to create saplings. As simple as that. So let's collect a whole bunch of these, and I will later show you how to actually plant these and create saplings out of them. Now, growing the tree sapling from its seed is fairly simple. This is what the seeds of the tree look like, and to grow them we essentially need a mixture of garden soil and a little bit of coco peat, which we're going to be adding. And this is going to be added in the ratio of 3 parts of garden soil and 1 part of coco peat. The coco peat essentially adds more porosity to the mixture and makes sure that as the root develops, it's got a soft medium in which to grow and expand. So here we go. I'm going to scoop out basically 3 scoops of garden soil, and we'll take 1 scoop of coco peat and nicely mix these together. And now we take the seeds and basically we put them flat into the surface right over here. So maybe arrange about 3 of them in a row, about 2 centimeters, centimeter and a half apart. And once you have placed them in the tray, then we just take a little bit more soil, sprinkle it over the top, so that you get about half an inch more layer on top. And then just water it generously, right? Now, after the watering is done, it's important to keep these trays in a shaded area and make sure that you keep the soil moist so that the seed is allowed to germinate. And we'll track the progress of these seeds over the next few days and weeks and show you exactly how the seedling develops. Now I have a few additional trays, so what I'm going to do, I have a few more seeds as well of Kachnar. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of these in the trays as well, similar to the way I've done it over here. That way we get more saplings which get prepared simultaneously. When you're watering the plants on a daily basis, just make sure you do it slightly. You don't need to overdo it. Just do it enough so that the surface is moist and there is enough humidity maintained for the seeds to continue to grow. Don't overwater. Today is day 5 of our effort to grow saplings of Kachnar tree. Let's have a look at how these saplings are doing today. So day 5 is the day that we see the emergence of the seedlings from the seeds. So here you can see in the top right corner, the seedling is emerging out of the seed casing. So that's one seedling there, and you can see the soil cracking a little bit over here, which is another seedling trying to make its way out. Hopefully in the next day or two you'll be able to see that too. So let's have a look at the other trays. Here again you can see there is a seedling trying to push its way up, and the soil is shifted upwards. Similarly, in this one you can see in the bottom right hand corner there is a seedling trying to push its way out. In this tray also you can see the seedling of Kachnar emerging, and this one still doesn't have any seedlings emerging as yet. So we'll continue observing this. Today is day 14 of our journey of creating the saplings for the Kachnar tree, and as you can see across all the trays the seeds have germinated really nicely, and this is pretty much on all the trays. Some of the seeds are still small seedlings and we will continue to let them grow. However, some of these have turned into fairly large seedlings, and if you measure it, for example this one over here is almost 7 inches or 18 centimeters in height, right? So this one is now ready to be transplanted. So the larger ones we will now transplant into packets or even pots if you want, and I'll just show you how that process is done right after this. The ones which have grown tall enough, like these ones over here, these are ready now to be transplanted into larger spaces, so maybe larger packets, and again we are going to use recycled packets, or alternatively you can also use clay pots. Try and avoid buying new plastic pots. The process again is fairly simple. We take a mixture of garden soil, coco peat and some amount of manure, and this has to be added in the ratio of 3 parts garden soil, 1 part coco peat and 1 part manure. Once we have mixed this up together, then we will put the mixture into larger space, like a larger packet like this one, or a larger pot, and we will transplant this seedling into this larger space so that it can grow to a larger sized plant and then eventually into a tree. So let's start the process of doing the transplantation. So here we go. The first step is to take 3 parts of the garden soil. So 1, 2 and 3, and then we take some coco peat, and then we take some manure and put that into the mixture as well. Mix it up nicely. After you mix it up nicely, move the mixture into the recycled plastic grow bag. So there you have it. It is a completely filled out bag of a mixture of garden soil, coco peat, and manure. Now, to help plant the seedlings smoothly into this bag, we will make a hole about 2 to 3 inches deep to accommodate the roots of the seedlings. Once you have made the hole, take any sharp instrument like a fork or a knife to scoop out the seedling from the tray along with its roots. You need to do this a little delicately so that the roots don't get damaged. The roots should not be exposed to too much air. Once they are taken out, they should go quickly and directly into the hole made in the larger grow bag and then covered up with soil. You can see here underneath the soil the healthy roots that have developed over the last 2 weeks. And now let's place the seedling with the roots into the hole in the grow bag, affix it properly, and cover it up with soil all around. Make sure you water the seedling adequately and generously. After transplantation, continue to keep the plant in shade. Remember, it is still very young, and even slight overexposure to harsh sunlight can bring the plant in distress. So continue to keep it in a shaded area for at least another couple of months with gradual exposure to sunlight, after which you can move it to a more permanent place in the ground, preferably during the rainy season, where it can grow into a full-fledged tree. We hope you enjoyed this How to Grow series video by Planet Reforest on growing Kachnar trees from seed. If you would like to encourage our work, please do subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share this with your friends and family. You can join us on Twitter on our handle @Planet Reforest. Planet Reforest does work in recreating forests in urban settings. I'm going to leave a link to our video of one such project in the description below. If you would like to create a forest in your area using the Miyawaki technique, we'd be happy to help. Please drop us an email at planetreforest@gmail.com. Until then, see you in another episode. Take care. Bye-bye.